Today, we are going to be reacting to my very first webtoon. Yay! We Never Happened. Again. Boing boing. Hey guys, it's Zuri and I'm back with another video. So today I am very excited and nervous because it's been a year since I posted my very first webtoon that I posted a lot of videos about documenting the process of, and it's been about 1 year since it's been posted, so I thought that it would be fun to react to it. Before we get into it though, a couple of things. One, my room is right by a road, so if you hear cars passing, that's why. Also, I have my fan on because it's hot here, so apologies if the audio is just not very good. Okay, that's out of the way. Secondly, I just want to clarify the timeline a little. By the time this video goes up, it'll be a couple days before the 1 year anniversary of the last episode went up. The last episode went up on June 30th. I think it was the last day of the competition, or maybe there was a few more days left of the competition, I can't remember, because I posted this webtoon for a short story contest on Webtoon. So yeah, June 30th is the 1 year anniversary of the last episode, but the first episode was posted on May 1st. So let's just go. Okay, so I have not read through this comic since posting it. I do see now that I'm looking at it though, well, before I recorded this video, I saw this webcomic has 1,046 views. Some of my old videos also have 1,000+ views, which is a lot for me. So thank you to everybody who either watched a webtoon video or read this comic. I feel like the YouTube helps with the growth of the comic, maybe just a little bit. So anyway, let's look at the summary here. So the summary, by the way, it's called We Never Happened. That's the name of the webtoon. So the description: when Clark Juniper volunteers at a local animal shelter, the last thing he expects is to run into Sage Reed, the most popular girl in his school. The two start dating and he feels like his life is changing for the better. However, when the new school year starts, Sage completely denies they ever had a relationship. Bewildered, Clark and his friends come to their own conclusions about why this may be. But what if there's more to the story? So yeah, let's just jump right into episode 1. I am nervous and I'm preparing to cringe. So, We Never Happened, episode 1 of 5, Puppy Love. Of course, we have this cute little doggo here, speckled. I think I used a texture brush for that. I don't know. But anyway, 30 minutes late. The most life-changing things always come when you least expect it. And there's the brush grass effect. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna try not to be too critical of myself, but I might be just a little critical of myself. That's what I learned the summer before 10th grade. Good morning, says the receptionist. Good morning, says Clark. I'm here for volunteer work. Hopefully I'm not too late. And there we have our first glimpse of Clark as a character. Oh my goodness. Hello, Clark. It's been a while. How you doing? Alright. So, okay, receptionist, not at all. The others are getting a tour. Just sign in here and I'll take you to them. And then you have these little signatures here. When I volunteered at the Penview Animal Shelter for the summer, I thought I'd only fall in love with the animals. And then they're going there. Alright, the one thing that I will say is I don't know if I like all of the brush effects I used. I used brush effects on the grass, as you'll see. The clouds I don't hate, but the brush effect on the grass, it looks odd. It looks patchy. It looks so patchy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh wait. Going back up to the receptionist though, I like the flowers in the back here. How did I manage to make them look so good? At least from afar they look pretty good. Alright, so we have Linda here. How about we introduce ourselves as your as your guide for the first day? I'll go first. As I said earlier, my name is Linda. I'm 27. I've been working here for 4 years. Good for you, Linda. Would you like to go next? Sure. And then I saw her. He saw his crush, Sage. Let's take a look at Sage. The one thing that I don't understand is like there's like, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like glitching, like pixelation around her eyebrows, her mouth, her chin, like all over her face. That kind of looks, it makes her look like she has a little bit of a mustache there. I don't know what I can do to avoid that in the future, but my name is Sage Reed, and then Clark's narration, she's the most popular girl at my school. What's she doing here? Sometime later. Since it's your first day, your first task will be simple, says Linda. And then Linda says, while the dogs are being taken outside for their daily exercise, their cages need to be cleared out. And I did some like spattering on the wall to show like it's a dirty looking cage, and he's mopping it with like a bucket and mop. Oh my gosh, look at that side profile. I said I would try not to be critical of myself, but like that side profile. Anyway, how fun, thinks Clark. But it's all part of the job, I guess. And then Sage, off screen, says, need some help? Clark, what? And there she is, full body. Oh my goodness. Her upper arms are a lot thicker than her lower arms, and her fingers are non-existent. Now that, one could say it's a stylistic choice, and one could also say that I'm obviously covering the fact that I'm bad at drawing hands. Anyway, he accepts her help, and then they're talking. Not gonna lie, Sage, you were the last person I expected to be here. What? Why? Well, I mean, I know we only have 2 classes together. And then you have this, her shoulders are so broad and like lopsided. I'm sorry, but like, it's like, ugh. Okay. But at school, you seem more likely to spend the summer on an expensive vacation, that is foreshadowing, rather than volunteering at an animal shelter. And then she turns around, looking completely different than how she did a while ago. Well, now you know you're wrong. I actually want to become a vet. There's a lot you don't know about me, ... yet. It's supposed to be like a mysterious look, but she just looks angry. And just like that, we were close within a matter of days. You know, we're going in for Disney style, couple get together like within 24 hours of meeting and get married after 5 days. No, I'm joking. Next thing I know, and then a little fast forward into the future, they're holding hands. Holding hands. Okay, I like how I did the hands here. There's a technique that I notice a lot of comic artists use, where they will use like chibi style, or like a very simplified style for characters in one panel and then really detailed in another panel, and I think that's fine. So like how I didn't go into a lot of details with her hands prior, and then in this I like show their hands in details. I think that's a pretty good technique, especially, you know, saving time and stuff like that. So the next thing I know, I'm dating the most popular girl at school. Let's see you tomorrow. She's kissing him on the cheek. Those side profiles need work, but okay. It was almost like a dream. A couple weeks ago, she didn't even know I existed. Oh, how sweet. This school year was going to be epic. I think something that, okay, if you look, you'll see like the panels don't have a lot of space in between them, which I think that I will definitely pay more attention to come next time. But anyway, several weeks later, I remember spending so much time on this one panel and being just like, I don't know. Like, could have been better. Again, like the sprinkle effect on the grass. Just, girl, no. You could have just... I wanted to give it some texture, but I don't know if it really looks great here. Alright, so now we have Ralphie. Is that his name, Ralphie? I think that's his name. But yes, I like Ralphie. Look at him. You and Sage read? Dude, why do you wait so long to tell me? And them just standing in the hallway and him just giving the best pose. Look at that pose. Just look at that pose. And look at these silhouettes. Like, look at the beautiful silhouettes in the back. So now, you know, Clark is telling his friends about him and Sage. I was still trying to adjust to it myself. Sorry, Ralphie. You know, like when you start dating someone and you don't tell your friends right away because it's awkward and you don't know how things are gonna go. He's like, it's fine. I remember having him being like, it's okay, man. Like, him being like really like sympathetic and emotional, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. He could just be like, whatever, bro. So then Ralphie's twin sister, I have like a whole backstory for her, and I was thinking of revisiting these characters, like right when I finished the webtoon. I was like, I'm gonna make another one with these same characters. I don't know if I will, but I do have a lot about her that I like. So anyway, she's like, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't believe y'all are together. And then Ralphie's just like, okay, look at those eyebrows. Look at that eyebrow raise. Come on, sis. And I've learned that siblings don't call each other bro and sis. So apologies if you are offended by my terrible use of sibling dynamics here. But come on, sis. What's the problem? We've known Clark for years. Why would he lie? I don't think he's lying. It's not even him I'm concerned about, she says. Why is her chin so pointy? I'm sorry. Okay. So then, so I guess what's going on here is Cole, that's her name, is basically saying that she is concerned that Sage is the one that is not... She's the one that's, you know, using Clark or something. And so Clark is now being like, what do you mean? What are you concerned about? But he gets cut off by Ralphie because Ralphie's the best. And then this panel is the one that I did a speed paint along to in another video where I talked about, like, my process. So yeah, Ralphie's like, there she is, go talk to her. And here's where things get, you know, spicy. So he's like, hey, babe. And she's like, what did you just call me? Sorry, I thought you didn't mind that nickname. He says, does the shy boy pose? I thought you didn't mind that nickname, babe. And she's like, only my boyfriend can call me that. And then he touches her shoulder. That's why I said it, babe. Which is kind of, you know, awkward. And then she slams the door. I actually like this. You know, this pose was kind of hard because she's like going like this. Kind of hard for me to get at first, but I like how it turned out. Get away from me, you creep! And then he, oh my gosh, his face looks so different. In comparison, look from there to this, so different, wildly different. Oh my. Alright, so, Sage, what's wrong? I thought we one step closer and I'm calling a teacher. Don't even get close to being a creep out. He's like, I'm sorry, did I do something wrong? I thought everything was okay between us. And then she says, us. What on earth are you talking about? And then she's like, Sage, wait. And she's like, thinking, weirdo, I'm going to class now. Their silhouettes are just... And then Cole's like, that went about as well as I thought it would. Alright, Cole, well, whatever. Alright, continuing on. This is a pretty long first chapter, but it was a short story contest. So, Clark, narrating, says, but as grandfather used to say, it has to rain before the flowers can grow. And then they're sitting, and he's like, I don't understand. Cole said, Cole said, I do. They're sitting outside. I remember this This panel was also hard for me to like figure out how I was gonna do. But anyway, Clark saying, why would she react that way? Like, we didn't spend almost an entire summer together. Because you didn't. But you don't know that yet. Spoilers, sorry. Okay, so again, this perspective was really hard for me to nail. And just, I don't really like the way she turned out. I didn't like it initially, but I was like, listen, if I don't post this now, it's never gonna get posted. Okay, so she's saying, I saw her with Max earlier today. Max is Sage's boyfriend. But she told me that they broke up. And then Cole, clearly that was a lie. And then Cole, looking completely different than she did before. Look, Clark, I hate to break it to you, but I think Sage cheated on Max with you. Dun, 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 dun. Clark, what? Slamming his fist on the table. Let's take a look at that fist there. His fist looks like a cinnamon bun, but it doesn't look super bad. I think it's a good attempt. I remember struggling with this too. And then Cole being all theoretical, trying to figure out what's going on. Either that or they really did break up and you were her rebound. But now she just doesn't want anyone to know. Cool. Ralphie does not like where this is going at all. And neither does poor little Clark here. No, there has to be some other explanation. And then, oh God, she looks so... Anyway, I knew it was too good to be true. You and the meanest girl in school. And then his eyes start to fill with tears. Poor Clark. She played you, man. I'm so sorry. That's Ralphie. And then that's the end of that. Okay, so let's recap here. You have Clark starts dating this girl during the summer. And then during the school year, he confronts her and she denies they ever had a relationship. What could possibly be going on? Well, let's continue. Episode 2, Unclean Break. We have this nice little shot of a house here, which, very cuboidal. I don't mind it though. I think it looks pretty good-ish, kind of. Anyway, so we have talking coming from inside. Who is talking? And then he put his hand on my shoulder and called me babe. Oh, poor Sage. She's discussing her, what happened in school. Yeah, she feels really uncomfortable. And she's talking to, okay, again, I know this character over here in the black, I think her name is Nancy, and I have a lot, like a whole backstory for her. And I was going to do like other comics, I might, or at least other stories. I don't know if I will anymore, but that was like really on my mind at the time. And then this is Ivy. So Ivy, ew, really? And then Max, who plays a huge role in the story. Another thing is that oh my goodness, the speech bubbles are so small. Oh wow. Can I even read this? Yeah, it was really creepy. I told him to back off, but he kept trying to talk to me. Poor Sage. I feel bad for Sage. And yeah. Max, want me to talk to him? No, Max, it's fine. He was probably just trying to pull a prank. Then we have this super dramatic on my girlfriend. I tried to do like the whole anime dramatic angle shifts with the dark eyes and the glowering. Oh gosh. And then we have Ivy and Nancy. Ivy, I always thought Clark was a bit weird. Nancy, yeah, I mean, what if he does it again? Valid concerns from your friends. Valid concerns. Sage, I thought of that too. Max, I'll talk to him. And then, you sure, Max? Yeah, it'll be short and sweet. Guy to guy. Don't worry about it. Oh my goodness. And then smooch. And then Ivy. Anyway, can we get back to studying now? Gotta get home for dinner soon. The whole thing was that, like, okay, so we have Sage, Nancy, and Ivy. Sage being, like, the like popular girly one, Ivy being book smart and Nancy being like the goth of the group. I don't know if this outfit screams goth, but she's wearing all black. I try my best. Alright. So Max is gonna talk to Clark about talking to his girlfriend. Okay, so the next day we have Clark and Ralphie. Again, Clark looking very different. I tried taking my mind off of things, but she was all I could think about. And he's sketching his girlfriend! His girlfriend, sketching her. And Ralphie looking also very different. Gets an alarm for class. Oh man, I have class now. Later, see ya, Clark. And then you see Max looming in the foreground. And Clark thinking to himself, he should probably do some homework. You should, and stop stressing over your non-girlfriend. All will be revealed soon. So, Max, off screen. Hey, Clark. Clark, close up of his eyes as he looks. And then, again, this super dramatic Max just, I like how like you can see the shadow like looming over him, because Max is supposed to be, I guess it's less an actual depiction of their height difference and more of like Max being this like big, powerful bully, and Clark like just cowering in the corner. Because again, as Cole said, Sage is the meanest girl in school and Max is like the school bully kind of. So, ooh, what's gonna happen? Alright, so he's just glowering down at him. I really appreciate the effort that I made to make this as dramatic as possible. Maxwell Henry, captain of the school's wrestling team, and unfortunately for me, my new enemy, grabs him by the shirt, pulls him up. See, because they're like the same height in this. They're literally the same height. So it was just a dramatic effect type thing. So I hear you've been harassing my girlfriend. What? I don't play dumb with me. And then, again, him just looming. Just leave her alone and we won't have any problems. Got it? Clark. Yeah, I mean, Max. Good. And you think that this is done, but nope. Cracks him in the face. And don't forget it. And he walks away whistling. I literally have like musical notes coming from his whistling. This boy is whistling after punching him in the face. And then he sits devastated just when I thought things couldn't get any worse. So I like how, you know, the gradient from light to dark here when things start to get, well, dark. So yeah, a recap. Sage tells her friends and boyfriend, the weird kid in school was harassing me. Boyfriend decides to talk to him and he settles issues with his fists. I'm just really honing in the whole Max being a bad guy type thing. Episode 3, Love Me Not. Later that day, Samuel J. Hicks Memorial High School. Pretty flat, but whatever. Again, Cole looks so different. Clark, what on earth happened to your face? Oh, and so here we see I had to remember that from this point up until like maybe toward the end of the last episode, that Clark's face was messed up because of the punch. Continuity. Could just have him get punched in the face and then like his, you know, injuries don't show. So he's lying to his friends. I just took a really nasty fall. And then you see Sage lurking around the corner as he and his friends. I like this little shot here. The three of them. You look like you got beat up. Your tooth is chipped. So again, you see like less details in some scenes based on what's going on. And like the emphasis, we want the emphasis to be on Sage looming and not so much on like Clark and his friends. And then we get like again, we allude to the fact that she is lurking and then we show she's lurking. And by we, I mean me. I don't know why I'm saying we, because I worked on this by myself. Alright, so she's thinking, what's going on? Because she's putting pieces together in her head. Like, I spoke to my boyfriend about it yesterday, and now the guy that was harassing me has a beat-up face after I spoke to my boyfriend. What happened? And I say harassment, but it was like, it's a misunderstanding in this case specifically. So harassment might be a bit of a hefty word for it, but you get what I mean. I promise you nothing happened. Clark is continuing to lie. And even if it did, it doesn't matter anymore. Shrinking down. His face also shrunk. Like, what? Sorry. Cold, getting mad. What are you saying, Clark? Did someone hurt you? Who did it? She's being all protective and grabbing him. It looks less like a grab and more like she's holding a pole almost, like holding it out stiff. We're going to the principal. No, we can't. Yanks his hand away, and they're like, why? Sage still there like, yeah, why? Lurking, and then I have lurking. Okay, it'll just make things worse, Clark says. Clark, what happened? Fine, I'll tell you. So he tells them what happens, and then after school, he's waiting to be picked up, and Sage appears. We need to talk. It literally says appears. She just materializes out of thin air, like, and he is like, huh? Again, his face completely changes. Completely. I don't think that's such a good idea. I mean, didn't you send your boyfriend to beat me up so that I'd stay away from you? Just extremely blunt. And she goes, no, I didn't know he'd be so violent. He said he was only going to talk to you, which is true. She had no way of knowing that Max was going to punch him. And then Clark, looking very different and very swollen, says, anyway, why should you care? You cheated on Max and lied to me, but now you're trying to play innocent. Again, just, it's him confronting her, but it's also me trying to clarify the situation, because it can get a little confusing. And then Sage, just so confused. What on earth are you talking about? Is this what you've been telling people? Technically, only his friends. So, 2 people, because he only has 2 friends. You can deny it forever. He's taking a phone out of his pocket, and then she says, who are you calling? He goes, you. So basically, he's trying to show that, hey, we dated. I have your number. I'm going to call you so that you know that I have your number. I was trying to find a good way of, like, revealing what's going on. So having him prove to her by calling her that she is really his girlfriend and she's lying to him, kind of convoluted, but I think you get the idea. I would like to believe you get the idea. So, you gave me your number. Did you forget? What's your phone rings? I'll prove you're a liar. And she goes, I have no idea what you're on about or why you think that I... And her phone is quiet because, you know, we're about to find out why her phone is silent. And then someone answers the phone, but it's not her. Hello, Clark, are you there? And they're just like, what? And she's like, who's this? And then the other voice at the end goes, this is Sage Reed. Who is that? And Clark's looking at her like, bro, what? Clark! And oh, I like the finger, detail on the finger. She's got a ring on her pointer finger. The real Sage hangs up. And then the dramatic cliffhanger ending. Clark, I have no idea what's going on here. But clearly, whoever you spent your time with, whoever gave you the number and is using my name, isn't me. ... 3 out of 5, we're halfway. Okay, so episode 4, Untold Story. This is where we get all the juicy details as to what's going on. After that strange phone call, this is Clark narrating, it wasn't very hard to convince Sage that I really had spent the summer with, well, Whoever it was claiming to be Sage. Them walking home. As it turned out, Sage had spent her summer in Hawaii with her friends, so this story was getting even more confusing. So there's Sage and her friend Ivy in their little bikinis. There's foreshadowing from the beginning when he was like, it seems like you'd be more likely to spend your time on an expensive vacation during the summer than volunteering at an animal shelter. So there it is. Was I clever for that? I don't know. But Sage says, I cannot believe that someone is pretending to be me. Clark, she looked exactly like you. You sure you don't have a secret twin or something? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Subtle, not so subtle, foreshadowing / mini reveal, maybe. Sage, no way, I only have an older sister. This is just some look-alike, an identity thief. And they're continuing to walk. Guess we'll find out. ... Nudge, 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 nudge. We came up with a plan and put it in place the following week. Alright, let's see what the genius plan is. We're there at Infinite Donuts Cafe. I set up a date with Imposter Sage at a downtown cafe. We sat at one of the outside tables. And here he is with his arms crossed. Feels like we haven't spoken to each other since school started. He's saying, so this is Imposter Sage. Yeah, just got a bit busy, I guess. Sure you did. And then, did something happen to your face? And he goes, oh, it was just an accident. Don't worry about it. Everybody be lying in this comic. And then we have a mysterious person looming. Who is it? The real Sage, who wouldn't be too far away, would come over once the imposter and I started talking. So this is the real Sage looming in a sweater. Oh, hey. Oh, no. She says, hey, Clark, what's up? Oh, hey, what a coincidence. He goes, Sage Reed would like you to meet. Dun dun. Sage Reed. So the imposter is being confronted with her, the person that she's pretending to be. Gasp! And then after the initial shock of seeing the two together looking absolutely identical, and the real Sage yelling at the imposter for causing so many problems, we were finally able to get some answers. Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it. What's going on? I guess I should start with my real name. My name is Tristan Phillips. Right before summer started, I was scrolling through my feed on Snap now when I came across Sage's profile. I was stunned. At first I thought I was seeing things, but then I was certain we looked identical. Look! Excitedly, I told my mom, expecting her to tell me you weren't related at all, just a really weird coincidence. Instead, she revealed to me that I was adopted as a baby. And then we see Sage looking very surprised because if she's adopted, then that would mean she might be adopted too. The adoption agency she used didn't have much info on my biological parents. All they knew was that I had a twin, you, who had already been adopted by a different family. We tried to get in touch, but so basically twins separated at birth because of adoption. Sage, this is the first time she's hearing this because she doesn't know she's adopted. It's like, what? Stands. Like, imagine, right? The girl that you have a crush on, / you thought you dated, / you're having a friendship with, has this huge revelation that she's adopted, and all you can be like is, told ya. Like, where's your empathy, bro? Where's your empathy? Why are you... You should be empathizing with her. Tristan says, look, I'm sorry, okay? At first I wanted to reach out to you, but I got scared. You just seem so cool. I guess I got a bit jealous. Not an excuse to, pretend to be somebody, but anyway, Sage. So you pretended to be me? I know it doesn't make any sense, but save your excuses, Tristan. Sage, where are you going? Home. My parents have some explaining to do. And she's there with tears in her eyes. Oh, why am I doing this to my characters? Like, one getting punched in the face, girl finding out she's adopted, another one just being kind of made into a villain here, even though she clearly has issues. Okay, so this is the end of episode 4. We find out what's been going on, and there's one last chapter. Whenever happens, episode 5. First strike, second chance. So, Clark looking longingly. After Sage left, I was alone with the imposter. Who is your girlfriend, technically? The girl that I had spent the entire summer with. The girl I thought I really liked, but she was a liar. And then Tristan. I'm even getting mixed up. Tristan. I guess I owe you an explanation too, Clark. And Clark, with his signature head tilt. So, if I get this right, you found your long-lost twin online. So this is like a recap for the readers. And clarification in case it's a little confusing. So, if I get this right, you found your long-lost twin online, discovered that you both got adopted into different families, and then pretended to be said twin because you felt jealous of her? Tristan, I know it sounds crazy, and it was a crazy thing to do. And then a little photo of Sage's snap now post. But looking at her photos, our lives just seem so different. She goes on expensive vacations, has lots of friends, wears the best clothes. Before we continue, let's just look at what this caption says on this little fake Hawaii photo. First week in Hawaii with @IV28, @RealMaxH, and @CarlaBanks. We'll be posting way too many bikini pics. Haha, missing you @NanaNance. So I want to explain this because, again, I have a bit of a backstory on the other characters too. So she goes to Hawaii with Ivy, Max, and another girl named Carla, who we don't see in this comic. I don't remember what exactly her role is, but she's just this other character. The reason that Nancy can't go, though, is because she has been misbehaving, and her punishment is not going. I think that was what I had, her punishment from misbehaving or doing whatever was not going on vacation with her friends. So there's a little backstory. Anyway, so back to Tristan explaining her origin, her villain origin story, even though I don't really think she's that much of a villain. She just had a lapse in judgment. She got adopted into wealth. I love my adoptive mom, but we've never had much. I just wanted to see what it would be like. And then I have a little arrow saying, hand-me-down dress. The dress isn't bad, it's a nice, light purple, pinky dress. Clark, with his raised eyebrow. But all you did was use her name. That didn't give you her life. This is true. And then Tristan looking very different. Yeah, but it made me feel more confident. I could just imagine how she would act, Which, I don't know, that's a little bit... Clark is just not gonna lie, I don't fully understand your reasoning. Again, does her reasoning make sense? Debatable. So, okay. And now Tristan is saying, look, I'm really sorry. I lied to you about who I was, but I promise you my feelings for you are very real. Back to the romance aspect. Please, could you give me a second chance? I quickly weighed the pros and cons in my head. Alright, so he's weighing the pros and cons. The con being more lies. I quickly weighed the pros and cons in my head. Con 1, she could lie to me again. After all, she kept up the Sage act for weeks. And then she's like, I promise I won't lie to you again. Pro number 1, she might be able to read my mind. Because he was literally just thinking she could lie to me again. And she's like, I'm not going to lie to you. And he's like, oh, maybe that's a good thing. And then she clarifies, the only thing I lied about was my name. I still love fashion and animals and reading and everything else I told you about. So that's the thing that I was trying to work out in my head. How is she going to convince him that she only lied about her name? And I guess she lied because he assumed Well, no, actually she went there, introduced herself as Sage because she wanted to be her twin sister. I thought for a second, I was like, wait, did he just, it would be different if he assumed that she was Sage. She's like, hey, Sage, and she was like, huh, and she just went along with the lie. But she introduced herself as Sage, so that's an added element of deception. Even after finding out I was tricked, I couldn't help but find her cute. Wow, guy, wow. My parents always used the 3 strikes rule. They would give you 3 chances to make the same mistakes before giving some kind of punishment. So here's a little infographic. Offense, refusal to take out the trash 3 times, consequence, no phone for a week. Parenting 101 with Zuri. Okay, so Clark continuing to narrate. They would give you, oh, I already read that. Maybe I could give her 2 more chances, 2 more strikes. Maybe we can start over, but just as friends, at least for now. So they're breaking up, but they're still, like, wanting to be friends. Tristan, oh, okay, I understand. How about we introduce ourselves like we're meeting for the very first time? Which is kind of cute. Hey, my name is Tristan, which is what she should have done. I have thoughts about this. Okay. And then Clark, nice to meet you, Tristan. Epilogue! Oh, I made an epilogue? I don't remember this. A few weeks later, and we were all adjusting to this weird situation, at least for the most. So, him explaining the situation to Ralphie and Cole again. Remember them? Remember his friends? I can't believe you have to be nice to Max just because Sage asks you to. I'm giving her 22nd chance to win on her boyfriend. He punched you, Clark. I promise you, he'll get what he deserves. Cole, again, with the whole, like, dramatic, dark eye situation to show that Cole is mad. And Clark's like, okay. And then we have Max and Sage here. And then let's look at Max's license plate for a second. MX, great. Wow, genius. Okay, so Clark approaches. Hey Sage, what's up? Someone slashed Max's tires. And then Max, you know anything about this? Clark, no I don't. But maybe. Ralphie giving his sister a look. Someone else took matters into their own hands. It's just there. Oh, this is very creepy. Just weird looking. Just her evil little. This is her face. This school year really is going to be ... interesting ... The end for now. And then yeah, that is the end of my very first webtoon. It was so interesting looking back on it. Personally, I feel like there's a tendency when you're in the creative field, be it if you make videos, if you make webcomics, if you make music, if you're an actor, whatever it is, I feel like the tendency is to look back on your old work and cringe and be self-critical. And I personally am like, well, if I'm too self-critical, it might seem like I'm trying too hard to be humble, or like trying too hard to be like, ew, I hate my work. But then again, if I'm not self-critical at all, people can point out your flaws and be like, what about this and this? I don't know, I feel like there's a balance when it comes to reviewing your own work. Personally, I think that my art style and my digital drawing needs strengthening a lot. There are many things in there from an artistic standpoint that could be fixed. It could be way better. That being said, if you think your art style looks like mine, don't feel bad. You know, everyone has things that they can improve on, including me. So yeah, there are definitely things about my art style, and if I were to redraw this comic, which I don't see myself doing anytime soon, but if I were to redraw it, I definitely would do things a lot differently in terms of the art style. When it comes to the story, though, I think it's okay, I guess. When it comes to trying to explain a very complicated plot, or a plot that could easily get confused. Let's say that. A closet could easily get confused because this isn't necessarily a hard concept to understand, but if it's not like explained properly, it might get confusing. When it comes to that, I feel like sometimes the tendency is to over-explain it, which I don't know if I did in this, but, you know, I think that's something to keep in mind. Like, if you have a plot that could get confusing, you know, trying not to over-explain and try not to have the characters directly say, like, well, this happened, then this happened, because they've lived it, right? So I guess that's another thing to balance, too. Something that I was thinking about, though, was it would be so different if Tristan had just introduced herself as herself. If she had introduced herself as herself, but let's say Clark didn't hear, like, let's say he came late, right? She already introduced herself as Tristan to everybody, and then Clark sees her and assumes that she's Sage, and, you know, he's telling her, like, oh, you're the popular girl at school, like, blah, 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 and she's just, like, what? Like, confused. Like, if that, I feel like if that had happened at the beginning, things would have taken a completely different turn. Either he would have confronted her and be like, you're the most popular girl in school, and she's like, no, I'm not, what do you mean? And then they would together discover that Sage is her twin. Or he would have approached her, she would have kept the lie, and then looked it up herself and realized, oh, I have a twin. But there's this really cool guy that thinks I'm her, and I like him, and I don't want him to be disappointed that I'm not her because he likes her. Like, I feel like that probably would have been a more interesting way to go about things rather than her just deciding in this, like, weird diabolical sense to pretend to be her twin. Because on one hand, it doesn't make sense. And this is me critiquing my own story writing. Like, okay, she discovers she has a twin. And she's like, I'm going to pretend to be said twin because it looks like she has a better life than I do. Which, on one hand, I mean, makes sense in a way. Like, but on the other hand, it makes her really look bad. Like, it makes her look like somebody that can't be trusted, or that somebody that doesn't have the best decision-making skills. And I don't want to, you know, villainize Tristan, or really villainize anyone that has found themselves in the situation, you know, because sometimes you have this, like, idea there's, like, the good twin and then the bad twin, and I don't want that to be the case here, of Tristan to be, like, the bad one or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I think that it would have been a little bit more interesting if they had discovered, if the beginning had gone differently and it wasn't necessarily Tristan's conscious choice to pretend to be Sage. Because in this version of events, she's like, I'm going to pretend to be Sage. And this is what I'm going to do. But in the alternate version of events, she more kind of falls into it, either by Clark being like, oh my gosh, I've always liked you, and now you're talking to me, like, oh my goodness. And she's like, yeah, I'm definitely that girl from your school. More like she's trying to keep up this lie. And in a sense, that would add to her moral complexity, rather than her just being like, I'm gonna pretend to be my twin. I think I would have preferred it if I could rewrite the story. I think I would take a look into that a bit more. But all in all, I don't know. I'm still very proud of myself for being able to put that out. By that I mean I've always had an issue with finishing the stories that I start. I always come up with an idea and then don't follow through with it. And it can be really disheartening and frustrating, and it can feel to me like I'm incapable of finishing a story. So for me, being able to finish the story, even if, yeah, the story could have been better, the writing could have been better, the whatever else could have been better, I still am really proud that I was able to stick to it, because that is my issue. I don't tend to stick to the things that I start, which I'm still working on. So yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to finish it. And ultimately, I think it could have been a lot better. Again, I want to thank everyone who has either read this comic or who has watched a video about this comic and then gone to check it out. I really appreciate all of the support, and I do plan on making more webtoons. as I've mentioned in past videos. So yeah, this has been fun. Let me know what you think about any of what I said about, you know, story writing in general, comic writing in general, any tips / tricks. I do think I need to work on some formatting issues with this, like with like the spacing in between panels and stuff. But regardless, yeah, that was a fun trip down memory lane. So thank you for watching. Check out my other videos if you would like to. Check out my Instagram and Twitter for art updates and life updates. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye!